Is Donald Trump the Antichrist? There's no better time than to talk about this than now, because of the things you see going on in the world. And as we see things carry on and we see things changing, it's important to talk about this again. Although I have quite a few videos on this topic, of which I give you probably every sign you would ever need to understand who the Antichrist is, and that he's following every single pattern that the Antichrist would follow, and that there's a veil over people's eyes, unfortunately. And a lot of those people's eyes tend to be in the U.S. itself, because that is their president. But also because you've seen him in the media. You've been desensitized to this guy, or sensitized. You've been desensitized to this man of lawlessness for so long. Beginning with what was the name of that television show? It ran 14 seasons. It did extremely well. You're fired, right? I was going to say The View. In any case, you've been desensitized to this guy. I got to wear my glasses, man. Pardon me, I'm trying to do this with very severe abdominal pain. I'm suffering with a kidney stone. I'm going to try my best anyways. I want you guys to follow me the best that you can. The problem with this is that, so why do I keep making videos? About every 10 or 15 videos, I make a video about this, right? Why? Because those videos that were pushed out to either maybe 100 or 1,000 people, hopefully more that it would get to, but I doubt that, they stop getting views, and that's just the nature of these videos, right? That's just the nature of the algorithm. So I think it's important to open some people's eyes, because I believe that, as Paul says, some people get saved through fear. It's not always through love and Jesus Christ. It's through fear of understanding that there's a hell, understanding that there's an Antichrist, and so on. Sorry guys, I'm really suffering. Everything that's going on down there is affecting my throat. I have a throat disorder. I really want to talk about this, though. Very anxiety-provoking for me. So people have preconceived ideas of, we're talking hundreds of years, and in the modern era, we're talking about many decades of preconceived ideas of people like John MacArthur, who go on and on about that he's going to be the greatest orator. He's going to be, although the Antichrist is, but these ideas that what they start to do is they start to build up a character that you're going to expect, and that's not the way it is. He's going to be the Assyrian. He's going to be a Jew. He's going to be from the Roman Empire. Well, Donald Trump's parents come from an area in Germany that the Assyrians migrated to. So it doesn't always mean that he's going to be born there. It could be an association where your parents were born, because a lot of the Bible tends to be about parents and where you came from and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to give this a basis. So as time goes on in the modern era, so you can go all the way back to when people were being persecuted, like, where Paul was, right? We're talking about Nero. People thought, this could be the Antichrist. But when you really look at the picture, although he was a Antichrist type, he was only really persecuting a specific area, right? Rome. And so ideas can develop in certain different areas and not others. But he certainly was an evil individual. And the reason I bring this up is because in our modern era, they're looking, and rightfully so, at each individual president. He's the Antichrist, or Dick Cheney, or Bush, or Obama. Hey man, Obama was starting to look like something, changing the way the world worked. I believe he was the person responsible for all these different ideologies you see now, in Islamophobia, all those things. Okay. He was certainly a major contributor to those things that you see now. But they did not hold any positions that the Antichrist would, because they were not outwardly displaying biblical signs. Sure, Obama was a great orator, right? But it was not him. And his time went by. You're going to say he's still here, but that's not what this is about. I think one of the worst problems, before I start going on to the signs that you've heard before but need to be said again to people who have not seen this, is that it's truly unfortunate that you see teachers, pastors, whatever, that they're biblically blind. They are being willfully blind to a man that should be outwardly obvious to everybody. If it's obvious to the people who aren't even Christians that there's something strange with this man. And I'll say this, that pastors are being too careful because of the people that they're leading. That's what it is. Aren't you speaking out about the things that I've never seen something so obvious in my life that when you actually start to, and I kind of blamed them in a way because they've studied very thoroughly the scriptures. So some are afraid to say something because of their following. And usually that's it. That's it. I have a following maybe of like 1,400 people. And I'm not going to compromise myself for you. I'm not going to do that because I wouldn't be telling the truth. So with that said, there may be a few extra things here, and I always say things in a different way. So and things are changing. So just give me a little second here to get something in my stomach. It's not just a kidney stone I have other abdominal disorders that make it very tough to be in a video, and I have to put food in my stomach and water too. I did see one pastor, Lauren Livingston, who is famous worldwide, and pardon me, something stuck in my teeth. Pretty good preacher, and he's the only person that I saw call out two things but didn't go any further, which is just further to what I say about this. But he was the only one who was truly famous who said, he just stopped in his sermon and he said, "Never have I seen a man do this, to be able to say a few words and then the world move and alliances change and he has country arguing with other country to the point where, the Antichrist Donald Trump says in his mind, okay, I'm going to use this. He prospers by deceit, okay? That's why the Bible says he will prosper through deceit. That's why he stopped 8 wars. He will stop the Ukraine war, likely. If not, that'll go full World War III for some time. They'll start fighting first without nuclear weapons, I believe. Who knows? I'm not going to pretend. I'm just looking at what I see. He said, never have I seen a man do the things that this man does. And I've been here almost for 80 years. Or 80 years. And people tend to look in our time. The amount of time that you and I have been here on the earth, which is nothing. It's just a blot. We base everything off of that. I think, okay, what was the other thing he said? Oh, he went off on Donald Trump about changing the Bible. Donald Trump changed the Bible. So did many other people in history. But they didn't have all these other things. Those people will pay by what Revelation 20 or 21 says. I will add the plagues of this book to the person who changes the words of this book. So, he did change the Bible. You change all of it, okay? Not just Revelation. You change all of it when he added the Constitution in it. He's using Christianity. I don't care what he says. I love Jesus. He can say all those things. I know his character. And he made $300,000 on the Bible. That's more money than probably you and I have ever had in our lives. And he did that through deceit. He knows how to use the Christians, and the people who are beside him are Paula White. And if I'm saying that name correctly, who speaks out in tongues and sow your $1,000 seed. Sow your $1,000 seed. Yeah. These are the types of people he's surrounding himself with. They're false. They're angels of light. He prospers by deceit. Have you ever seen a man stop 8 wars? He's made peace in the Middle East. That is the most shocking. It's not going to be a lasting peace. And I understand you're going to say, well, there's, it seems the ceasefire is going on and off type thing. You see what's happening. And the architect of the Abraham Accords is both Trump but Jarden Kushner. And I understand I leave room also for that man. In my mind, saying, I don't truly know, because he bought Pennsylvania Avenue 666. That was a long time ago. I paid very close attention. He paid way too much for that building. It could have been a ritual. Why? 1.8 billion is 600 million, 600 million, 600 million, 666. And I wonder too, and he shall confirm a covenant with many. Could that be not the Antichrist who does that? But it's just indicating the person who wrote up this peace deal with many. Many countries will come into it. So it could be Jarden Kushner who they're talking about there. But the Antichrist is Donald Trump, without a single doubt. He was born on a total eclipse in 1946. I think, I'm just doing this by heart. And that's another thing. I'm doing this by heart. I'm not doing it by things I've written down. I think it's June 4th or June 6th. But in 1946, he was born on a total lunar eclipse. So I'm going to get into the signs now. So you see everything he's doing. He's in the middle of everything. He's got his hands right in the cookie jar. Absolutely right at the bottom. Right in your face. And the reason people are going to be fooled is because he's an angel of light. He's going to say things that you think are Christian. Even if he says the name of Jesus, which I heard he just did. Do you ever question why he always has his hands like this? It's not a mistake. I have a picture in my computer right now of him and Elon Musk sitting down together when they were together, both making them simultaneously. It's not a mistake at all. He does it with his hands. Freemasonry. symbol. Do you get it? So they're making peace in the Middle East. I forget now if it's Chicago or New York City, but it doesn't matter. I'm talking about the Trump Tower. The architect came out and said it's not 663 feet that his Trump Tower is, it's 666. And it makes sense. And a lot of people say, is that the only sign? You can see all the signs I'm giving you here. Then that's Wikipedia, the architect. I saw it on a video. The guy showed me. I don't know if it was X or it was one of those. It was a chat thing, and the architect of that building, which by the way, a major architect of that building was Charlie Kirk's dad. Charlie Kirk's dad. Go look it up. That may have been him who said it, but I saw the evidence. I don't have that evidence right now. His main floor on that building is the 66th floor. It's not called the 66th because of the atrium in the building, but it is the 66th floor. Do you get it? It's the measurement that counts, not what they're putting. 666, 66th floor, and on the bottom. So you look in the thumbnail picture that I'm going to put to this. It shows Trump holding the tower that he designed in his mind and asked people to do. I believe it's a temple of Baal. It doesn't have the 6 towers, it's got 7. So when you look at the top of the building, it's like got towers going up. Look at that building again. You always see the other side of the building in the news and all those things. No, this time you have to look, you have to research. You'll see in the thumbnail shot. It's the symbol, the fertility symbol. The Freemason, all that, everything is sexual. So from floor 6 to floor 12, so 6 floors up, 6 floors across, and 6 in width, he designed into that building, he had people design into that building, the as above, so below symbol, the pyramids. You know what we're going right back to the beginning. They worship, it's just a satanic sigil. There's many ways to look at that. There's many different things they call that triangle. And that's why you see him making those symbols with his hands endlessly. It's not a mistake. Go look at that building. Top, middle, bottom, 666. So when you look and it says Wikipedia 663, oh yeah, it's just 3 feet off, right? So, give me a little break here. Man, this goes on. This just goes on and on and on. The man prospers by deceit. I've never seen a more public, rude man. Why is he on the Epstein list? We know he is. We know the people that went over there. He was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. So the man who's trafficking everyone and girls and all, man, you take your guess whether someone who's right at the top of the list and who was best friends with that man, you discern for yourself if he was a P. Yeah. We live in a time where everything is upside down. Good, evil, evil, good. And so you let it fly. He said Jesus, right? He said Jesus, but he went to the Epstein Island. I wonder if they went there to worship, right? Right? Underage girls. Go look up, it was actually not easy to find, but Donald Trump trading cards. So, never has a man branded his name more than Donald Trump. Never. Go look. Trump Tower. Man, he's got his name on chocolate bars, on different types of meat, different types of water, all over the place, on buildings. And you shall know him by his name, for sure. his number is 666, and the mark of the beast will be coming. Donald Trump trading cards. So in those trading cards that he sanctions, that he wanted, he's riding the horse, the white horse, the black horse, the red horse. He's riding the 4 horses of the apocalypse, carrying a sword, carrying the scales in his hand, and on a white horse without a bow. He's conquering all these places by deceit of his mouth. By his mouth. He deceives, he flatters. And he honors a god of fortresses. It does not mean that he's gay. That's not what that means. It just means he honors gold, and he honors a god that his father didn't. You know, his father, Fred Trump, you know, you may think he wasn't the best person or whatever when you look in the history, but man, Donald, a much different person. I knew there was something that I left out there. I'll just move on to the other ones. So why would he do that? Why would he be on that anyways? On a trading card on the 4 horses of Revelation. So when you look back at, okay, Obama and Bush and Dick Cheney and all these other different people, Joseph Stalin, Adolf Hitler, did they have any of those types of signs? This is oozing the Antichrist. He bullies people. Do you see? He bullies people into submission. He either settles to shut people up, but I watched a documentary about him. When people start to attack him, what he does, he lawyers up right away, and he'll fight you until it stops. Because there are so many different charges against him, and you can say whatever you want about him in that manner. Use your own discernment. So he makes it look like he's so good, because he makes it look like he's really good, but he's not. Because if you follow his words, so he bullies people. He calls people names. And you think he's a Christian? That dog, that, you know, man, yeah. I'm going to leave, like I do in every video I do on Donald Trump, I'm going to leave the compilation of him saying, I know more than you about oranges. I know more about nuclear war and nuclear terror than you do. Nobody knows more about the veterans and the disabled than I do. It goes on like 25 different times. This is what he does. How at almost 80 years old does he make it from here to there to there to there to there? From the time he gets up, he can't shut up. And what was his name? Who's that pastor that has now passed away? Very good pastor. He said that he believed that from what he read in the representation of the Antichrist, he'll be Mr. Loudmouth. Maybe you know who I'm talking about. He'll be Mr. Loudmouth who just can't shut up. And that's exactly. So the things that you see Donald Trump doing and accomplishing are not by his own power. Who can wage war with the beast? Who can wage war with Donald Trump? Sure, you could probably try, but man, do you want to? And that goes to was that really a fulfillment when his deadly wound was healed? Listen, this is subjective. There has to be at least a double fulfillment in that when he was shot. That was so iconic. And he gets up and goes, fight, fight, fight. Was that set up that way? Was it set up that way? I believe it's quite possible that was. I don't know. and his deadly wound was healed, and the world wondered after him. Ask yourself, did that happen? Now go look on Google. Who is the most searched man on earth? It's Donald Trump. What is it to gain the whole world but lose your own soul? And it was so very coincidental that as the, oh man, that last administration was on purpose. You think they were such bumbling, stupid idiots? It was called the Hegelian dialect, to make you question in your mind. You got caught in the Hegel dialect, thinking that it's good versus evil, when both sides are really evil. But to put you in a point where you could not stand that so much, and it is evil, and this stuff we're seeing around here is evil. You look at Canada, man, pretty soon, look at the passing the 3C bills, to put us in the same space as the UK, where you can't. Social credit system like stuff, where if I say something bad, they're going to come to my door, just like the UK. They're trying to pass that right now, right at this very moment. Yeah, so what more could you ask for? This guy is a bully, man. He's got a vile mouth too. And if you track him for any amount of time, you're going to catch about probably at least 30% of the stuff he says is untrue. When a person speaks and speaks and speaks and speaks, you can't track those things. Did the world wonder after him? They did. And right after his deadly wound was healed. So it's subjective. John, the apostle, who are you to tell me what I think that could be in terms of John saw something, and he just explained it in the way that he saw it. So if I'm John and I saw that event, maybe God didn't make it clear to John exactly, if he died or not, but that John wrote it the way that he saw it. And his deadly wound, it looked like it was a deadly wound, and it was healed. And I've learned about the Catholic Church and all that. This deadly wound was healed. I'm sorry. I go with this one much over that. I also believe Elon Musk, didn't they come together at a very opportune time? The second beast that rises out of the earth. Who makes fire come down from heaven in the sight of men. So if we're really truly in the end, and you're looking for someone who makes fire come down from heaven in the sight of men, who can you pick? You can't pick NASA. You can't pick Russia's space system. You can't choose China's space system, because only, who does that privately? Elon Musk, who I have a picture of them sitting together when they got together. They were with each other many different times in whatever, concerts or MMA or whatever they're in, a baseball game, I don't care. Making those symbols together. I saw them make Musk in the Oval Office making that diamond symbol, the protractor of the Freemasonry. X. Does that sound familiar? Space. X. Pharaoh. That's the satanic sigil. Go look at the satanic sigil in my last video. Just look it up on Google. Space X. X. And what's the other one again? I think there's 3 X's, and I'm not talking about one of his children. 3 of his companies are called X. He does miracles. And Neuralink equals 666 when you put it in the Greek gematria calculator. If there was anything that would change your thought, that might even keep you alive forever, like the book of Revelation says. And they will see death, but they will not find it. They keep telling us that in like 3 years we're not going to have phones anymore. Where there's going to be either a Neuralink, which Musk hopes, and they're doing it right now. There's a whole bunch of people who have. There's more than 10 people that have Neuralink, and I saw an expert on Neuralink saying that they've really done this on a lot of different people, and they know they're like 10 years ahead of what they're telling you. I believe that's the case with all electronic devices and all jets, fighter jets. I believe they have conquered, they have anti-gravity stuff, which means they can manipulate the air and they can manipulate the ocean to move around it in a certain way, right? To part it out of the way. Yes, I believe they've done that. They came together at the right time. Dark MAGA, right? Oh, let's get into that. What is MAGA anyways? What are all these hats in this cult? So it all ties into Revelation where the deadly wound was healed. It does. That hat says a lot more than you know. Trump 45-47. He was president for Trump 45. 46 was Joe Biden, which was set up to make you angry, so you would want Trump all that much more. 47. Add them together. 4 plus 5, and then 4 plus 7. 9/11. Is that coincidental? Why do they like 9/11 so much? And then 9/11, you go look at 9/11 itself, that was set up. They found thermite in there, 8 tons of thermite in those buildings. And that other building, which I saw live on TV when I was 23 years old, fall for no reason. This isn't that's not a conspiracy theory. These are top fire experts and experts in the field who believe this was set up. It had to be. You're not supposed to find thermite anyways, let alone 8 tons. And it fell in a controlled way. 9/11. So there's something with 9/11. Go read Revelation 9/11. So, right? They had a king over them of the bottomless pit. And his name in the Greek and the Hebrew was Apollyon. Go look at Trump Tech. Go look at his 66th floor. It's all gold plated, and he's got pictures of Apollo, right? Of who he worships. This is truly who they worship. The king over the bottomless pit, and his name was Abaddon. If you split that up, it's Abaddon. Is that God's humor? I have no idea. Very coincidental, though. So A, B-A-D, then D-O-N, dawn. The book of Revelation is not turning out like you think it would. The Abraham Accords. Wow. Making peace in the Middle East. So we're looking for this covenant. And what I'm looking for now, I'm not saying that what's happening now will be, what they're doing now will be it, but it looks like it. This is what we are waiting for. Not only that, but we look around, there's one megathrust earthquake in a day. There's a volcano that goes off that same day, and 2 7.4s. Like a 7.8, a 7.4, these things aren't normal. But you're being desensitized to think these are normal. But if you go back to 2018, those things aren't normal. Jesus told us there'd be earthquakes, and they've doubled. There's volcanoes going off at least once a week. So we know the times and the seasons, brethren, right? I have no need to write to you. You should know. But people will be eating and drinking like I am right now, marrying and giving in marriage. So, is this the covenant? It sure looks like it. where is Ezekiel in that? I don't think there's a Psalm 83 war. I just think it's going to be the Ezekiel war. And you see Recep Erdogan, and I know he wants to attack Israel, and I believe they are the synagogue of Satan. Israel, I believe they are the whore of Babylon, the scarlet woman on the beast. The beast is America, because they support Israel, and I believe that is a true genocide going on in there. I don't care what you think. I've watched. I don't want to make this about that, but I had to look on my own and look at my own heart. The most asymmetric war that's ever been. Like 70,000 people dead, so many children. Like 2,000-pound bomb. Why are you using 2,000-pound bombs in there, man? Like, just a lot of evil going on in there. They say they're not starving, but I watch things where they give them food from Canada, from my own country here, where they videotape and they see the people are all running in like a herd. That's not planned. The surgeon that went there, what was his name there? This was a good man. He broke down because he said you hear drones overhead all the time and they've got guns on them and they're targeting children. No, they're not, Dave. Okay, then why are they all saying that they're finding a lot of head and stomach shots? There's a lot of evil going on there, guys. We're supposed to care about kids and not war. So Recep Erdogan, is this like, there's just a lot of things we can't truly know. We're waiting for both of those things to happen. Or Zechariah, where they get run over, but 1/3 will be brought through the fire. That's the end. But this covenant, right? This covenant, and there's more to that hat that I didn't say. This covenant that we're looking at. Obviously, what we're looking for is 7 years in it, right? We're waiting for it to be finalized. That's what we're waiting for. Oh man, I forgot to record. Just kidding. This is just insane. I know the times we're in, do you? And in my last video, what about that? Look at the concert that they had, which Trump has to be at. This is all about their Egyptian, of all places it took place in Egypt, which is where all this X comes from and the diamond symbol, see? Excuse me. It's about the pyramids, guys. It's about going back to that. It's about the Eye of Horus. You know this? All the way back there, and then Tower of Babel, Egypt, all of them. Egypt was the first real power, right? Not Babel, because Babel, they sent them all over the place. So they had that concert in which, man, it's infused with this Freemasonry, Satan sigil stuff, programming people. So let's go back to the hat. Now let's go to this one first. I noticed this, and I used to be a science fiction, horror, fantasy. I love those types of movies. I don't watch those anymore. After watching the movie Halloween, the Rob Zombie one, that turned me off of I couldn't after I was born again. I couldn't watch that stuff anymore. The way the killings in there. I saw the movie The Omen, okay? That was like the first real horror movie that came out. No, sorry, that was another one, but around the same time. Where, and I always forget this, it doesn't matter. The initials of Donald Trump are DT, okay? The initials of Damien in The Omen are DT, I forget his last name, but you can put it in again. And I noticed this, that Damien in The Omen went to a military camp. He was a child, about 12 or 13 years old, a military cadet. I think it was like the 7th Cavalry Division. And his father in that, who played the droid in the first Alien movie, popular guy, he was his father, and he was higher up in the military. And they're in this cadet place, and he hands them the Bible, and he says, Damien, and he opens it up to the book of Revelation. He says, read about this. This is who you are. Learn who you are. And that always stuck in my mind because I have a near photographic memory. Because when I learned about Donald Trump's upbringing, he was a military cadet, okay? And it was the same story, except Donald Trump's was a little more violent. Go look at that story of him being brought up in that military camp, of which he became, of course he did with his mouth, became the leader of the place, of those cadets. But I heard it was a violent place, or it could be a violent place. I don't know, to toughen them up or do whatever, but if you look at the years that was made and Trump was born, it was only like 25 years off of when he was that age. They're telling you a story. Pardon, I got to take a break and pace, guys, because of my abdomen. That movie, The Omen, matches Donald Trump's life of when he was young. They're fooling around with you. This is what they're doing. So let's talk about his hat. Just give me another sec here, guys. It is bad. I'm used to having a lot of abdominal pain all the time. I just have chronic acute pain. I've had that since 2008. But then I started getting more pain disorders in my abdomen, one because of Moderna. And yeah, they're just, to have a kidney stone and all that. To try to stand, it makes it worse in the back. So my kidney areas both in the back and the lower back are being crushed. Causes a lot of anxiety, but MAGA. What is MAGA? So I ask you to do this, to test it yourself. Test the spirits. Go to churchofsatan.com. Go to, I don't know which one it is first because I haven't done it since I don't want to go there because I know it's there. So remember their hat, MAGA, M-A-G-A, or Elon Musk, I am dark MAGA. Why are you dark MAGA? The man who goes into Doge and just goes in for long enough to look at your information while they're building Palantir with Peter Thiel, who's making the rounds about warning you about the Antichrist. What a joke, man. This is how they're messing with you. Could you ever imagine this in a million years, more than 15 years ago, a man going around doing that, a billionaire? It's some type of ritual, man. He's going around warning you about the Antichrist, but he's building the system. Go look at Palantir. So, MAGA, go to churchofsatan.com, go under affiliates, and just go look for their hierarchy. Go look at hierarchy. And there'll be 5 positions. And the top position is priest, priestess, which whenever it happens to be. And the highest position is MAGA, churchofsatan.com. Coincidence? MAGA? It's just so much. I don't. There's so much. I don't know if I should give you more than this off the top of my head, but I guess I'll give you a few more. Of course, he's involved. Remember, he moved the capital of whatever Israel, to Jerusalem, right? He moved the embassy to Jerusalem. That's what he did. The Jews believe that this is, and I know they're looking very carefully. We don't know if this guy is the Messiah. I've heard them say it. I'm talking about their leading Pharisees. They're leading Pharisees. They gave him a silver crown. You don't believe me? Go look at it. They gave him a silver crown in 2023 in a plexiglass box. I'll finish off by saying this. Of any man on earth, and I've watched him, and I've rewatched, will this man, Donald Trump, the Antichrist, can you picture him actually standing in a temple and saying that I am God? And I can, because I've watched as he's been presented things, positioning him. Do you understand? Everyone is idolizing him and idealizing him. He's Cyrus. He's Alexander the Great. That's what the Jews are saying. You don't accept me, but you'll accept him when he comes in his own name. In his name, he brands his name Trump. Donald, by the way, means ruler of the world. And there's stuff in Trump too, but I'm not going to get into that. You know, like his grandmother's name, Elizabeth Christ, his grandmother. I'm not going to get into that right now because it's too much information. I'm not going to go on forever. They believe he is like Cyrus the Great. He is equivalent to Alexander the Great. This man stops wars, 8 of them so far. Pretty major wars too. The India-Pakistan could have gone in nuclear. The other ones are big too. Like he just steps out and stops the Sudan war. Like what? And you still don't think he's the Antichrist. So I say to you who study the Bible and believe you know some things, and I leave room for other things too. I have to leave it fluid. I'm trying to make you a little bit angry to say, well, what's wrong with your view? He's right in front of us, man. I guess maybe God has put a veil over some people's eyes, like a certain time clock, that some type of algorithm that they're going to see in a specific time. We know God, listen, we have the freedom to choose too, but there are certainly things that God chooses for us too, to help us along. And I hope, I've changed the mind of at least 5 people in this video, if even 5 people watch it. But he knows who he is. He knows. And when he says the word God, you know which God he means. Even if he says the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Jesus too, of which I'm hearing some lately. So, and anyways, guys, just for the interest of time, I got to cut it off, and for my abdomen. But I hope you learned something in this. I try to put a new spin on this every time, because as time goes along, I learn more things. You see the stuff that's going on in the world. I wouldn't be surprised if 100 tornadoes hit one city. I wouldn't be surprised. It's the day we live in. We're being thrown so much at once that it starts to settle in our minds that this is normal, but it's not.